With these last couple of pickups over the last few days, how much say did the coaching staff and specifically Dwayne get in terms of molding the rest of this roster on short notice?
Quite a bit, actually. I've always been consistent with the notion that coaches are a big part of the success of some of the player transactions that are conducted in terms of adding pieces to a team. And when you talk about bringing in some pieces that are going to be a little bit of a comfort level or add a comfort level to the process for Dwayne, experienced guys that can come in and not only pick up the system but also the culture and provide some leadership not only on the court but in the locker room. And again, we talked to all of the individuals involved, whether it was Jamal or Anthony Carter coming in, and we're looking for that presence in the locker room and presence on the team. And I think all of them that we've brought in are going to add in their own way. Even Aaron Gray, comes in with a lot less years of experience, but he's been there, fought the battles against some big guys. We were a small team. You take the team we had last year, basically remove Reggie Evans, and you've added Jamal McGlure and Aaron Gray. You're much bigger and you got much more presence inside the paint. So, all of those, roster tweaks to finish or complete this picture. Clearly, the coaches were involved in it, and they continue to be involved in it as we await the outcome of the Gary Forbes contract situation. It was an offer sheet. We'll know in the next couple days, hopefully, whether or not he's going to be here. As an alternative, we're looking at some other names and some other players, and we're going to continue to, talk to the coaches about those pieces, and we have already. As far as just the overall process alone, not a lot of major or significant moves to alter this team or this picture. I think I said it the other day. We've got a plan in place. We're sticking to the plan. We're being very patient, very strategic with these things that we're doing to make adjustments. It's as much about adding to the system, adding to the culture of the team, as it is adding talent in terms of, the basketball players. We want to find out what we have with the young guys that we currently have under contract. Dwayne, coming in is, unfortunately got one arm tied behind his back because of the shortened or condensed training camp, the tough schedule, all that. But if we stick to the plan, continue to build and grow and develop, and then add pieces next year. The 2 draft picks, Jonas Valanciunas from last year's draft, and then a player coming out of the subsequent draft pool in 2012, plus, a lot of free agent flexibility. We're right where we want to be.
How important is it for some of these young guys to step up now, guys like Ed Davis, 22 years of age?
Well, I think it's very important. Ed got off to a slow start last year because of a knee injury. By the end of the year, he was putting up a double-double with regularity. We have a lot of high hope for him at the power forward spot. Again, whether or not you project him out as a starter or a reserve, he's got a lot of, upside. And this is a full training camp for him, albeit condensed. But it is a training camp for him, and he's going to be in a situation where he's going to get a lot of playing time, as is, DeMar DeRozan and all the young players that we have. So we're excited about seeing where Ed's going to take it. But over the summer, he put on some more weight. That was something we were concerned about, his strength and his, just his overall presence. And I think that's going to help him quite a bit, muscling with some of the players in the paint. But, Ed's got a bright future.
Listening to Aaron Carter speak a minute ago, he really reminded me a lot of what Charles Oakley was with his team when he was here a number of years ago. How important is a veteran presence like that on the floor, somebody who won't be afraid to tell guys that they're not doing the job? How important is that to you?
Well, Anthony Carter, joins the team as a player that has 13 years of experience. He's been on some very good playoff teams. He's brought a lot to the table, in terms of that leadership role. It's not always about points and assists with certain players, but his presence is going to be known. And that was one of the key guys that Dwayne really said, we got to go get AC. If we can get AC, it'll really improve our basketball team in a number of ways. And it's not necessarily on the floor every day. It's his presence in the locker room. It's his presence around the team. I hope he does get a chance to play some, so we'll see what he can do on the court. I think he finished the season strong last year in New York, but he's looking at this, I think, with an open mind. Sometimes he's going to be a factor on the court, but mostly he'll be a factor off the court.
a lot of the times when you sign players, they're not asked to be leaders right away because they don't know the team's organization. But it seems like it's a difference with the guys that you just brought in. Is that to make, or am I wrong?
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, we were a young team last year. I think we finished the season second youngest in the league. And we are a little bit older now, just by virtue of adding a few guys in their 30s in terms of that age and experience. That's going to go a long way for, again, the leadership aspect in that locker room. They've been there, they've done it. And again, sometimes leaders emerge on teams, and sometimes you have to create leaders. At the start of this process, I was pointing solely at Dwayne Casey as the leadership in the locker room. He was going to have to step up and be that guy. At the same time, it's great to be able to find a couple of pieces of this roster that can step in and help him with that. And I think that, Jamal McGlure in the first players meeting stepped up and said some great things that I hadn't heard anybody say for a while. It actually prompted a number of other players to step up and say something. So he already had an impact just in the very first half an hour that he was with this club, officially in a capacity as a player. So that's just one aspect of it. But we had a very quiet circle, so to speak, that circle that makes up our locker room. At halftime, very few people would say anything. I think you're going to have a few guys now step in and say a few things and know what they're saying. I think they'll say constructive things, they'll say critical things, but if you do it in the right way and deliver that message the right way, I think it'll be well received, especially by the young players. And the young players, I think, are thirsty for it, so it'll be a positive impact overall.
What'll be the sign to you that your team is getting better defensively? Because there seems to be a lot of emphasis right now. What'll be the sign statistically? Or?
Something higher than 29 or 30 for sure, but we plan to move up that, those rankings. The interesting thing is, it's not just about slowing down the ball. We still intend to run and push the ball up the floor. I think, Dwayne talks a lot about flow offense. He wants to get those scoring opportunities when those scoring opportunities, can be found. But a lot of those scoring opportunities can be created on the defensive end, and we've got no reason not to with the athleticism and the young legs that we have. Despite the tough schedule, we will be able to probably look like a younger, fresher team on certain nights. There's going to be nights where we get an opponent with a tough back-to-back or possibly even a triple. We're going to have some of those nights ourselves. There's going to be moments where we look poor probably, but at the end of the day, what we intend to do in terms of making this a successful campaign, again, instilling the system, instilling the culture, and it's not just the culture of, let's get better defensively, it's overall, let's change the culture of this club, let's get tougher, let's get meaner, let's not back down, let's do the things that make you better as an organization overall, but defense is a big part of that. And so we're not just looking to move up the rankings in terms of, those statistics. We're looking to establish something with these guys. And I think, again, with some of the pieces that we have, some of the pieces we've added, there's going to be a lot expected out of them. And one thing I can promise, we're not going to lay down. We're going to lay it out there every single night. We're going to fight hard. I know Dwayne's not going to tolerate anything less. There's going to be some accountability with respect to their performance this year and how they play. And we're going to make the most of it.
Can you describe how your role's changed with Ed alongside now?
Really not at all. It's, my process is about inclusion of a lot of opinion. I'm a consensus builder. I do a lot of things to make sure that, the input coming in is the right input, and bringing a guy with Ed's experience, as I pointed out early in this process when we hired him, that he's going to be a great, valuable resource for us as we form those consensus opinions. And ultimately, I've got to make a call one way or the other. And again, his role is going to be that he's going to oversee the scouting process, pro, international, and college. And I'm going to continue to, rely on the people that we've got in place in those roles. Jay Triano is going to handle a lot of the pro personnel, Mark Eversley a lot of the college stuff, and Mauricio is going to continue the international aspect of it. But, Ed's going to really, oversee that and make sure that we've got the right information when it comes time to make a decision with respect to the draft, but also as we evaluate potential transactions and different decisions, including free agent moves next year, that we'll have, more brain power in the room.